All right, welcome back to Max Codes. Today, I'm going to show you how we can use UIStackViews and WKWebView together to basically load up a few Instagram profiles, right? Or YouTube profiles or something. If you're confused on what I'm going to show you in this video, just look at the cover of the video. The screenshot of the app should be there, okay? So I'm going to put my camera here so you can see me while I'm coding. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first thing we're going to do is open a new empty Xcode project. As you can see, there's no code written in here. If you don't know how to create an Xcode project, just figure that out, and then you can learn from my video here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is declare our stack view. We're gonna say let stack view is equal to UIStackView, and then we're gonna add this on the sub view and then set some constraints. So we're gonna say view.add sub view stack view, and then we have to say, we'll do auto layout constraints later. So for now, let's just do view.frame. And then I'll show you how to do it with pure code auto layout constraints, okay? And then import WebKit up here, and then this is the code you should have right now. So get this in, and then you're not gonna be able to see anything because we haven't done anything with it if you reload your app. So let's write some more code and get something in this stack view, specifically a URL or something, right? A web page, okay? So let's say let web view is equal to WKWebView. And if you're not seeing that, WKWebView, you're gonna have to import WebKit. So just make sure you import WebKit. And then for frame, we're just not gonna do frame. We're gonna initialize this as empty, and that's because we're gonna be adding it to our stack view. So it's gonna handle the sizing for us. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna say web view. We'll say let URL is equal to a URL of type string. We're gonna initialize it with a string. And we're just gonna say HTTPS www.youtube.com/maxcodes, and then what we're going to do is we are going to say let request is equal to, and we have to explicitly declare this. So put an exclamation point at the end of this URL here, put an exclamation point there, just so we have declared it explicitly. If you're confused on why we have to do that, just ask me in the comments and I'll reply to you. Okay. So next thing we need to do is create a request. So let's say let request is equal to URL request, and it's going to take a URL in and initialize a URL request with that URL. So let's throw our URL in there, and then let's load it up in our web view after we add the web view to our stack view. So let's say stackView.add subview. No, we'll say stackView.add arranged subview web view, and then we'll say webView.load, and then we'll throw in the request in there, okay? So if we reload our application right here, we might not see anything, but then I'll show you a couple options here in the documentation for stack views that will basically allow us to see it. Okay, so right now we are seeing it all, right? But once we add in a couple other things, it might not, but either way, we're gonna talk about the documentation in a couple minutes or a minute or so. So let's go ahead and add in a couple more profiles so it looks more like the cover of this video, and then we'll make a function and do some other things, okay? So what I want to do is I actually want to move it to a function right now because, no, I'll show you how to do it with two profiles, and then I'll show you how to reduce our code by making a function. So let's go ahead and copy our web view here and paste it down here, and then let's just call this web view 2, and then I'll copy that name, and then I'll put it right here and right here, okay? And then we have to rename our URL to URL2, and then our request to request2, and then our URL in here to URL2, and then our request down here to request2. So as you can see, this is already getting pretty redundant, and that's why I'm going to show you how to create a function after we load this up. So for the second URL, I'm going to say, I think it's let's build that app. I think that's Brian's channel. It's either that or build that app, one of the two. But yeah, let's reload our application, and we should see two web views in our stack view now. And if we don't, we'll mess around with the stack view options here in the documentation and see what we can do. All right, so that's what I thought would happen. I thought it would only display two of them, right? Or one of them, right? So what we need to do is we need to go read about this documentation here for a second and basically see what we can do to basically size these automatically, because right now we're not making a size for each one of these web views, and then our stack view is kind of just determining it automatically, which you can see is kind of a problem because it doesn't even show us our second web view. So what I want you to do in the stack view documentation here is just scroll down to positioning and sizing the stack view. If you don't want to do that, you just want to follow along, feel free. But yeah, anyway, it says, although StackView allows you to lay out its contents using auto layout directly, you still need to use auto layout to position the StackView itself. In general, this means pinning at least 2 adjacent edges of the StackView to define its position, okay? So we used a frame for that, but anyway, what we need to do is modify the axis. See, it says along the StackView's axis, its fitting size is equal to the sum of sizes arranged subviews plus the space in between views, which is kind of confusing, and I don't even understand what the freak that means off the top of my head. But basically, what it's trying to say is it's the axis of like which direction the 2 views in here are going. So before we do the axis though, we need to basically give them both the same size, and then I'll talk more about the axis, okay? So what we need to do up here in our stack view is straight up say stack view dot, and then we'll say, I think it's alignment is equal to dot, not alignment, but why can't I think of it? Spacing, no, direction. Distribution. Okay, dot distribution is equal to dot, and we'll say fill equally. Basically, what this is going to do is it's going to say, okay, anything in the stack view, we need them to be the same height. Okay, so it's going to take WebView and WebView 2, and it's going to make them the same height. Well, same width in this case, because that's where axis comes into play. All right, that's why I wanted to wait to talk about axis, is because you can see now that we have these 2 YouTube channels, one with a nice 464 and one with like 140,000, you know, no big deal, no big difference. But anyway, we want to display this from top to bottom, not left to right, unless you're into that left to right junk. I don't think it looks very good. It's kind of cool, but it doesn't look good. I don't know. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do that with axis, okay? So just so you understand what they're saying about axis right here, we can go ahead and we can say StackView.axis, and it says the axis along which the arranged views are laid out is equal to dot, and then we'll say vertical. So the constraint applied when laying out the vertical relationships between the objects. Okay, so if we reload our application now, you'll see that it gives us a better kind of setup, all right? All right, so you can see now that that looks a lot better, okay? So a couple more things I want to do before ending this video. I want to show you how to put some spacing in between these, kind of like grid gap in CSS Grid, but not CSS Grid. And then I'm going to show you how we can refactor this so we have a lot less lines of code, okay? And then we can add in another one like Sean's channel. Okay, so stack view, and then we'll say dot spacing. So the distance and points between the adjacent edges of the stack views are arranged views, which sounds super complicated, but all it really means is the space between our items here. So if we say 40 and reload our application, you're going to see a little gap of about 40 pixels or points or whatever the measurement is for iOS apps. I think it's points. Anyway, you'll see it's got to be pixels. Anyway, you'll see now that we have a gap, okay? So yeah, basically one more thing we need to do before ending this video is we need to create a function to basically make this a lot easier and tinier and modular, right? Easier to use, okay? Because as of right now, if we were to add in another one, we'd have to rename all these variables here, and that's kind of a hassle. So let's just make a function that takes in a string to load a specific YouTube profile or Instagram profile. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this one, so we only have mine left, and then I'm going to cut mine out using Command X, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to say func load YouTube profile, and then I'm going to have it taken a parameter of name, and then, or let's say channel, and then what that's going to do is it's going to take in a string, and then I'm going to paste this in here, and then in here, instead of saying maxcodes, I'm going to put in slash backslash, and then I'm going to put in 2 parentheses, and then I'm going to take in channel as a parameter, okay? And then now what's going to happen is every time we call this and pass in a channel name, it's going to automatically give us what we want, okay? So let's go ahead and let's say, okay, look, so stack view, it says unresolved identifier. What we need to do is take this stack view here, and we need to basically declare it outside of our function, outside of our view did load. So let's say let stack view is equal to, and we'll just say UIStackView. And we'll put an exclamation point just saying, hey, this will exist when we use the function, okay? Now we're gonna call load YouTube profile, and I'm gonna rename it to channel. Load YouTube channel. And then it looks like we have a problem here. Let's just say is equal to UIStackView. Oh, okay. The reason this is happening is because I made it a constant, or we're going to say it's variable because we still needed to declare it here, which is going to modify the object. Okay, and then now we just need to pass in a string. So let's say maxcodes, and then let's copy this, and let's say Sean Allen _ dev. I think that's his YouTube profile. That's not it. I'll just put PewDiePie. And then I'm gonna put in, let's build that app. But you all know who Sean is. Basically just, I think he's pinned in my profile here. Anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna load this now, and we're gonna see 3 profiles here now, okay? I'll show you who Sean is. This is Sean Allen. Okay, so his is /Sean Allen. Okay, anyway, you can see now that PewDiePie has a bit more subs than I do, but I'm on my way, right? All right, anyway, let's switch it to Sean Allen. And basically what I'm trying to show you here is that this works and it's really awesome, and that you can use this in your own apps with stack views for whatever feature you're working on, maybe a nav bar, maybe something just completely different. All right, but yeah, that's our app. I'll go ahead and I'll see you guys in the next video.